Hello everyone, welcome back to Purple Rose Crafts. Today we're going to talk about how to crochet this lovely alpine stitch. It is beginner friendly using single crochets, double crochets, and front post double crochets to make this awesome texture. I love this one. Now keep in mind this one is, because of the texture that's included here, using a little bit of a stiffer yarn is a good idea, something maybe a little bit chunkier. We're going to use today our Red Heart in the Comfort. This color is called Cerise, and it is this awesome, I hope you guys can see it, all of this lovely sparkly texture. And it is an acrylic yarn, so it's going to be nice and stiff. Now once you wash it, it might be a little bit softer. This one is in general a little bit softer, but it is going to work perfectly for this pattern. So we are going to start off with an odd number of stitches for this pattern if you're working in rows. Now, if you're working in the round, you want to have an even number of stitches, okay? And just so you know, this is a cowl. It's going to come up on the shop in the fall, just because it's a little bit more of a winter pattern, and it's going to come with a matching hat pattern as well. Just so you are aware, this is the seam, and hopefully you guys can see, you know, it's pretty well hidden. So let's go ahead and get started. I have started our foundation row here with 13 double crochets, or foundation double crochets if you like. There's a 2-row repeat on this pattern, and it's worked alternately, okay? So you're going to do a row of double crochets and then a row of single crochets. If you're working in the round, it's gonna be exactly the same versus working flat, okay? I'm gonna show the flat version here, and then when we do the hat pattern, we'll do the round version as well. All right, so at the end of our first row, we're gonna do 1 chain to begin the second row. We're gonna turn, and we're gonna work a row of single crochets across our foundation row. And really both of these are just going to be our foundation, our setup rows for the pattern, and then our row repeats are going to happen on the double crochet rows, okay? So we are going to go over how to do front post double crochet here in this pattern as well. Though if you want a little bit slower tutorial, the waffle stitch pattern showed that one a little bit slower, so you guys can check that out. It will be linked in the description below, as well as the foundation stitches as well. So we make sure that we put our last single crochet into the edge to keep it nice and flat. Now if you were going to do this in like a blanket pattern, that would be lovely. You can also use it in a bag pattern. That would be great as well. And lots of texture for a bag would be awesome. And of course, we're going to do it in a hat and cowl as well. It would also look really awesome in a scarf if you were to do it that way. Next row, row number 3, is going to be a double crochet row. So we're going to start with a chain 2, and then we are going to be working down into the double crochet row or at the top, and we're going to alternate back and forth as we do our stitches. Our chains are going to count as our regular double crochet. So now we're going to work a front post double crochet, not on the single crochet row that we just finished. We're going to work it down into the double crochet row. So yarn over, down and around the post of the double crochet from the first row, yarn over, draw up a loop. Now give it a little bit of a tug because you want a little bit of length in your double crochet at that point, and then finish your double crochet, okay? So it's going to be up like this. So your bottom part here, or here is the part that goes around the front post, okay? And then you keep it nice and long so it stays tall enough. And then we're going to do a regular double crochet beside it. So you want to watch your stitches, okay? So if we pull this out of the way, this is the stitch we would have worked into if we were working at the top of the row, and this is the next one over. So that's where we want to work our double crochet at the top of this row. So it's a regular double crochet at the top. And then we're going to work another long front post double crochet. Again, we're going to skip the one down here, work into the next one. So that's this one here. So yarn over our hook, down and around, pull up a loop, and then just keep it nice and long. What's happening to my yarn here? All right, sometimes this happens. We just deal with it. We'll just work it in. There's our next long front post double crochet down into row number 1. Now we're going to do a yarn over and work the next one into the single crochet at the top. So again, we pull our stitches down out of the way like so. This is the one that we would have worked into. And so now we're going to work into the next one here. So yarn over and then down into that stitch. And now we're going to keep working low, so yarn over down into the first row, and the next double crochet is into the top row there, all the way across our row until we get to the end. And so now this is starting to look a little bit like our waffle stitch that we did in the previous video. That's okay, don't worry about that yet. We have just the beginning stages of our work. Work our way down to the end of the row, and when we get there, we want to make sure that we have enough stitches. So this one is going to be a front post double crochet in the stitch just before the end of the row, and we're going to finish with a double crochet, okay? When we get to the next row of double crochets, we're going to have 2 regular double crochets at the end in the beginning of the row. That's fine, okay? It's going to look fine. So there, that's how we keep our edges nice and straight. We want to make sure that we are double crocheting into the stitch at the end of the row like so. And now we're going to chain 1 and single crochet across this next row. Now if you're working in the round, don't worry, you're going to slip stitch to the top of the chains at the beginning of the row when you get around to the end, and then do 1 row of single crochets before doing the next row of double crochets. So if you're doing this in a hat, the cowl, or say a bag pattern where you're working around in a circle, then you're going to just continue working from the front side in with a single crochet row, and then again slip stitch to the top of the chains in the previous row and keep going from there. So here we are, this is the double crochet at the beginning of the row, so we're going to need 1 more here at the end to keep our edges straight, and now chain 2 to start our next double crochet row. So there's the end of our second single crochet row. Fabric wants to fold forward. That's okay, not a big deal. Once we get some more rows on, it'll sit nice and flat, more like our cowl here. We have our chain 2 at the beginning of the row. Now this one here is our long front post double crochet into the first row. We want to do a double crochet over top of that one. So we're going to alternate the rows that we just finished, okay? So double crochet the first stitch. Now we want to work our next front post double crochet over the regular double crochet from the second row of double crochets. So we're always working our front post double crochets 2 rows back, and we're going to alternate them back and forth. So this is the front post, that's a regular, this is a front post. This time we're going to work the front post double crochets into the regular double crochets from the previous row. So there we did our double crochet there, which is coordinates with the front post below. Now we do a front post, and now we do a regular. All right, now here we are at the end of the row. There's our last front post double crochet, and now we have our previous front post double crochet here, and then we have the one on the end of our row here as well. So we're going to finish the row off with 2 regular double crochets to finish the row. Okay, and here we have our nice straight edge, and the other side as well is looking really good. Starting with our chain 1, and we just single crochet all the way across. All right, so there we have the end of our next row, our single crochet row, and now we're going to work our next row of double crochets over the same as we did for row number 2. So again, this is going to be a regular double crochet from the previous row. So we're going to work a front post over it, give a little tug to keep it nice and tall, and then a regular at the top, and then a front post over the next one, and then a double at the top. All right, and keep working your way up your fabric. And as always, if you guys make anything from our tutorials, I would love to see what you're creating on Instagram at purple.rose.crafts, and you guys can tag us. We'll share everything to our stories because I just love seeing what you guys are making from these tutorials. So there we go. There we have several rows of our alpine stitch. Hope you guys can see the lovely texture on this one. Super, super fun. It would look awesome as a bag, a cowl, a hat, a scarf. Really anything that you want, even a blanket. I actually would really love this one as a nice and warm, super awesome, fun blanket. All right, if you made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button below, subscribe to our channel, and then click this video on the screen here because it is one that you will definitely want to watch next. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. See you next time.